Hey everybody, it's Miss Korea, and I'm here today to talk to you about the myth Phaethon, son of Apollo. Just two things before we start. The first is if you haven't checked out my Icarus video, please go back and do that before you do this one. And second of all, I just wanted to let you know that if you haven't recently taken a look at the story, the actual text of Phaethon, son of Apollo, I really think you should. A lot of students are unclear on what happens, but you have to have read it, and you can't just read something one time. Okay, you have to read it a couple of times in order to really get it. So please make sure to go back and look at the details. Last thing I want to say is that Apollo is Phaethon's dad, but Apollo is a sun god, and it's the Roman name for the sun god. So a lot of you have referred to him as Helios. That's not wrong. Yes, it is Helios, but Helios is the Greek name. And in this story, we're using the Roman name. So Apollo, Helios, same guy, sun god, dad of Phaethon. All right, so let's get started. This story is set in Ethiopia. This is very unusual for any Greek myth to be set outside of ancient Greece. That really doesn't happen, but this shows that the Greeks were traveling and aware of the world and cultures that were around them. Ethiopia is known for its hot desert sun and sands. This is why the sun is such a big deal in the story, and this is where we get our origin myth from at the end of the story. So, in the exposition of the myth of Phaethon, we find out right away that Phaethon is conceited. The quote says, "He always wanted to be first in everything, and in most things this was easy, since he was in truth stronger, swifter, and more daring than the others." Wow, how obnoxious. This is sort of in Phaethon's point of view. He says, I wanted to be the best in everything, and that was easy, because I am stronger, swifter, and more adventurous than other people. So foreshadowing alert, this is really not going to go well. This kind of pride will be his downfall. And it is his downfall because right away we have the inciting incident. Phaethon has been bragging about who he is to every kid at school. And, they all just sort of roll their eyes and ignore him and deal with it. And he's like, "Worship me, everyone. Love me. I am the son of the sun god." And the inciting incident is the one boy in the school who does not want to handle it. He does not want to hear it. So that's Epiphos. And Epiphos goes up to Phaethon and says, "You are a fool to believe that your mother told you this. You are all swelled up with false ideas about your father." Epiphos is not cool with Phaethon bullying all the other kids. And he's like, "Dude, your mom told you that you were the son of a god? Ha ha. I would go check that." Now, if you go back and read the story, it does seem to be strongly suggested in the wording that Epiphos might have been the son of Zeus. And Zeus is a higher god than Apollo, the sun god. So, honestly, Epiphos is like, "Oh, my dad, he's better than your dad." So kindergarten, right? But here we are. Phaethon's pride is so hurt by this. He is offended, so he goes running off to his dad. And as you already know, Phaethon is stubborn, conceited, disrespectful, reckless, ignorant, and uncontrolled like his father's horses. So he's like, "Oh, I'm going right to my dad right now." So he goes to his dad's palace, and he swaggers up to him. And he says, "I come to ask if you are indeed my father. If you are, I beg you to give me some proof of it, so that all may recognize me as Phoebus' son." Now, Phoebus is Apollo. I'm going to change that. He says, "I want you to recognize me as Apollo's son." And so my translation for you guys is, "Hey, are you my dad? Because I need proof right now, and everyone needs to know how amazing I am." You notice he doesn't really love his dad for who his dad is. He just loves his dad because his dad is going to give him more glory. So again, there's Phaethon being really obnoxious and rude. And so Phaethon's tragic flaw becomes really apparent, right? All he cares about is himself. All he cares about is being the best. All he cares about is being like the sun, the center of attention. And so he begs his dad, please, Dad, give me anything to prove that, I'm really your son. And the dad says, no problem, ask for whatever you want. And Phaethon says, Dad, I want to drive your chariot. Now, I think it's important to know that Apollo, the sun god, was considered the sun's carriage driver, basically the person who brought the sun up into the sky every day. So when Phaethon says, Dad, I want to drive your chariot, what he's saying is, Dad, I want to be the one to make the sun rise. And this is important because in ancient Greek times, they would pray to the sun god every morning, Dear sun god, please let the sun rise. And they believed that their prayers would convince the sun god to bring the sun up. And what Phaethon is really saying is, Dad, I want people to worship me and think I'm wonderful for making the day start. Dad, I want your glory. Now, Apollo, I think he's a pretty generous dad. He says, please, son, ask for anything other than this. And he says, you don't know how to drive. The horses are wild and uncontrolled. And Phaethon absolutely 100% does not care. He just wants to be able to brag. So this is kind of a fun part of the story, but Apollo then, he really does this. He actually gets out sunscreen and starts anointing Phaethon. And this kind of makes me wonder, is Apollo a bad father? Enabling or helping his son to do something wrong? Or is Apollo a good father and he feels like, all right, you're probably going to crash my car. You're going to crash my chariot, but, at least I won't let you burn. I will put sunscreen on you. So I don't know. But I do think it's kind of hilarious. He takes the sunscreen out. And so it's Phaethon's hubris and arrogance that are going to lead to his downfall. We already see this coming. Okay, it is important to know in Greek mythology that anytime a mortal tries to be a god, that is a huge no-no and very offensive to the gods. So when Phaethon says, awesome, I get to drive the chariot, that's going to make me a god. The gods are looking at this and saying, nope, you're going to fall. We don't want human beings to be like us. We are special. And so that's what happens. Phaethon gets in the chariot, he rises up and up, then he loses control, and the horses drop more swiftly than a falling stone. Okay, you'll remember that Icarus fell like a leaf and like a snowflake. Phaethon falls like a stone. All right, and if you need an image of a falling stone, or what we would call a meteor, take a look at the image, the moving image on the right. Phaethon is falling so hard that the earth actually cries out to Zeus and says, please stop him because he's going to destroy me. He's going to wreck me by crashing into me. That's Mother Earth crying out. And so Zeus throws a lightning bolt at Phaethon to make him, to kind of knock him off course. And Phaethon falls to the ground, and he fell flaming in a long trail through the air. I love this image because a flaming long trail through the air, it is a meteor. All right, so that's how we get our resolution and origin story. The question is, how did the desert get to be so hot? And the answer is, Phaethon's chariot scorched it when he fell. Also, guys and girls, I feel so bad. Yesterday I told you in the Icarus slides that the origin story of the poplar trees came from the Icarus story, but it actually doesn't. I was wrong. I feel so bad. I'm really so tired and I haven't slept in weeks. This online learning thing is a 24-hour-a-day job for me. So I messed up. I really feel bad, but the poplar tree thing comes from the Phaethon story. And in the end, I'm sure you could see so many similarities between Phaethon and Icarus. Both are blinded by their pride or hubris. Both do not listen to the advice of their fathers. Both are arrogant and think they're better than everyone. and both of them meet tragic endings. Thanks, guys and girls. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Me and Ms. Mahan both made these slides together, so thanks for watching.